Students, in lesson 11.6, we are going to be working with unit cubes and solid figures. Our essential question for this lesson is, what is a unit cube and how can you use it to build a solid figure? So you can build rectangular prisms using unit cubes. How many different rectangular prisms can you build with a given number of cubes? So something that we're going to be using today is our centimeter cubes, which we've used in the past when we've been working on place value, depending on decimals or whole numbers. We've called this before a hundredth, or we've called it other things that we've used it throughout the year. So a unit cube is a cube that has a length, a width, and a height of 1 unit. A unit cube has 6 faces, and all of its faces are congruent, meaning they have the same angles and they have the same lengths. It has 12 edges, and the length of all of its edges are equal. So we are going to build a rectangular prism with 2 unit cubes. Think, when the 2 cubes are pushed together, the faces and the edges make one face and one edge. So, how many faces does the rectangular prism have? 6. How many edges does it have? 12. B. It says build as many different rectangular prisms as you can with 8 unit cubes. So this is something that we're going to be working on together in class. And it says to record all of our information and dimensions in the rectangular prisms that we built with 8 cubes in the graphic organizer below. So we have 8 unit cubes. If we have 8 unit cubes, we can have 8 of them all together, or we can have a length of 4 units, a width of 2 units, and a height of 1 unit, or we can have a length of 2 units, a width of 2 units, and a height of 2 units. As you notice, boys and girls, all of these we can see that when we multiply these different dimensions together, we will always get 8 unit cubes, because that's how many unit cubes we are working with. So, with 8 unit cubes, I can build 3 different types of rectangular prisms. Now we're going to go on to the next part of our activity. In the next part of our activity, it's asking us to draw some conclusions from what we did in our previous building with unit cubes. It says, number 1, explain why a rectangular prism composed of 2 unit cubes has 6 faces, and how do its dimensions compare to a unit cube? So what we could say is the one face of a unit cube completely covers the face of the other unit cube, and both are on the inside of the prism. The prism has 6 faces. So the rectangular prism has one dimension that is 2 units rather than 1. Number 2, explain how the number of edges for the rectangular prism compares to the number of edges for the unit cube. Our answer, the number of edges for the rectangular prism and the unit cube are the same, 12 edges. And number 3, describe what all the rectangular prisms you made in step B have in common. So what we could say for this one is the rectangular prism that I made in step B are all built with the same number of unit cubes, 8. So we're going to go on to the make connections part of our lesson, where we are going to be exploring building different sorts of rectangular prisms. So make connections. It says you can build other solid figures and compare the solid figures by counting the number of unit cubes. So our figure 1 here has 6 unit cubes, and our figure 2 has 5 unit cubes. Figure 1 we can see is made up of 6 unit cubes, and figure 2 is made up of 5 unit cubes. So figure 1 has more unit cubes than figure 2. And lastly, we're going to summarize our understanding of this unit where we've been starting to explore volume, which is what we're going to continue to explore as we go on in these lessons. It says, use 12 unit cubes to build a solid figure that is not a rectangular prism. So it cannot be a rectangular prism, and I'm going to underline that. Share your model with a partner. Describe how your model is the same and how it is different from your partner's model. So what you might find, students, is that the solid figures are built with the same number of units, but they are different solid figures, because there are several different examples that you could do to demonstrate this. So remember, in this lesson, we're starting to explore unit cubes and solid figures, which is going to be our introduction to volume, which we'll be exploring further on in this chapter.